teaching, to the things that get them excited. Because ultimately what we want is for students to get excited, because when students get excited about learning math and science, wonderful things happen. Education is not filling a bucket, it's lighting a fire. So what is the best way to explain counting to calculus to people? It's basically thinking of mathematics from pre-K all the way to 12th grade without any gaps, no summer off. So if you take no summer off, you take little breaks throughout the year, but you keep the continuity with your math skills, just like a basketball player doesn't take the summers off from shooting free throws, what will happen is that your math skills will be much better by far, and you will cover way more ground than other students. One of the biggest disadvantages of learning math in America is the gaps. But number two, it's also the lack of vision. America's math education is struggling with vision. And part of it is because it's supposed to cater to many people in different areas and people who don't know what they want to study. Well, my take on that is, well, just learn a lot of math in your young years, and that's okay. It's okay to take calculus before you go to college and decide that you want to study sociology. There's nothing wrong with the fact that you took calculus, right? But if you don't have a plan, it can actually inhibit how well you do along the way to your 12th grade year in math education. So counting to calculus is saying, take Singapore math and use it from pre-K to 5th grade. Finish all the Singapore math books. And if you finish them before 5th grade, then you can start our pre-algebra book. No problem at all, right? So we use the sequence then goes pre-algebra, right? So first of all, finish everything elementary math, okay? So elementary, let's finish elementary math, right? And then let's go ahead and move into pre-algebra. Now here's the crazy thing. Pre-algebra is covered in some of the elementary school math topics, right? And this is one of the research projects I'm working on right now, is that I'm taking all elementary math using Singapore math, Cambridge math, Nigerian math, I'll add Indian math as well, and pre-algebra. Let's take all of that and just combine them and just, you know what, it's just one smooth course, and just keep going around, making sure students understand their place value, making sure students understand their estimated value, all the topics they need to know before they touch Algebra 1, right? So after you finish pre-algebra, then you have Algebra 1. But here's the cool thing with our curriculum. You actually do Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, and then get college credit for your Algebra 2. So we complete those in 1 year. See the benefit of not taking the summer off? You could just finish the whole Algebra 1 and 2 sequence nicely. Now, this works better for private schools and innovative schools. I understand that some schools will struggle with adapting to this, but this is very doable, especially in the age of AI. As a matter of fact, in the age of AI, you can finish 1, 2, 3, and 4. Geometry and trig. Yes. You can finish these 4 courses in 1 year and actually be better than students who took 4 years to finish it. You can finish it in less time, have fun with it, and be better. I know that sounds weird, but that's part of what AI does. I wrote my plans for this before AI came. And when AI came, it's just like, this is perfect. This is exactly, like, you could finish this in your fall semester, get into winter break a little bit, finish this in your spring semester, but here's what's crazy. You can do these alongside those. And that's what people do in Nigeria and Singapore. They take one class and a second class and actually have a third class where they're doing them at the same time with 3 different teachers. This is crazy. But that's what they do in Nigeria when they do the regular math, further math pure, and further math applied. So anyways, this is getting a little crazy. Let's stay back to America for a second here. So you have Algebra 1, Algebra 2, do those, okay? And then geometry and trigonometry. By the way, trigonometry at this point is pretty much a pre-calc. So it's pre-calc. Trigonometry pre-calc. The thing about pre-calc is that it actually is college algebra, which is the Algebra 2 content, and trigonometry combined, right? Okay, so you do elementary math, and then you do pre-algebra. Then you do Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. You do geometry and trigonometry. This is where counting to calculus begins to get very interesting. You do calculus, statistics, linear algebra, data science, discrete math, computer science, chemistry, physics, and engineering. Okay, what Counter to Calculus is saying is that students should learn math in the way that the topics were sort of brought to use. And by the way, my camera, sorry, might not have shown you. That's just physics and engineering at the bottom. I'm going to get a new marker for this. I apologize for the marker system there. But so here's what it is saying. If I'm learning inverse variation, the best example that comes to mind is Boyle's law, which is a chemistry concept. I think the era of interdisciplinary studies has come. No longer trying to keep one subject over here, one subject over there, and there needs to be more of the integration. Students need to see that when they look at Newton's equation for gravitation in a math class where they're solving for the variable, they need to learn about Newton and they need to learn about gravitation. Why can't we do all of that at the same time? Why don't we help our students to realize the point of the thing they're learning? Like, what's the point, right? So what's the point of the thing you're learning? That's something we need to really pay attention to. The era has come for interdisciplinary studies to go to the next level, giving every student the chance to learn math at a deep level, connecting it to other things, paying attention to the emotions. Well, it's not all about feelings here, that's not what I'm saying, but like paying attention to what gets the kids excited and how can you connect the material you're teaching to the things that get them excited. Because ultimately what we want is for students to get excited, because when students get excited about learning math and science, wonderful things happen. Education is not filling a bucket, it's lighting a fire. So teachers, schools and districts, nations and presidents, we need to help students we need to ignite a fire in them. That's what education should be about. Not about fundamentally focusing on facts and knowledge. Once you inspire your students to care, they can do great things. And by the way, this is just the starting point of Counting to Calculus. We're just getting them like to calculus, linear algebra, statistics, data science. That's like that should be the basic stuff. Because now we launch them into differential equations, calculus 2, more advanced stuff that or whatever their field of interest is. Let's not limit them. Let's allow them to move at their pace of mastery. Education, of course, will have to change to make sense of this. And that's why this summer is very different from any other summer, because we're going into a summer with great AI tools behind us. And now what are we going to do before we come back in the fall? You might have students that go into the summer that might not have understood basic physics and so on, and they come back in the fall and they've studied everything about physics that they needed to know to do quantum mechanics. That was part of what Isaac Newton did in the 1660s, 1664 to 1666, while he was back home during the plague in England. That's part of what Newton did. Maybe this summer might be the summer for things to turn around. But part of me doubts it, because if we haven't inspired them to care, and if they don't care, then why will they take the time to try to dig deeper? Let's spend more time helping students learn to care by applying the history and the applications of the concepts that we're trying to teach. Thanks for watching this video. Please feel free to subscribe, like, and share this with others. I'm available to help schools, districts, nations to rethink math and science learning, because this is a key era in history, but also that math is beautiful. Thanks again. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.